Want to get all those Western clothes out of your closet? We'll give you a reason this Friday night. What's it all about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on this Friday night's second annual Cattle Barons Ball to benefit the American Cancer Society. And we're visiting with one of its co-chairs, Patti Hilton. Good morning, Patti.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's so exciting to get you up in the morning and see this amazing outfit. You're ready.
I am ready to party.
For the Cattle Barons Ball. It's
Raise money for cancer.
Big Friday night.
It sure is. We're looking forward to it.
And there's been a lot going on getting ready for Friday.
Woo, we've been working hard. We're going to put on a good party.
How are you going to sleep this week, Patti?
I'm not planning on getting a lot of sleep this week, but luckily I don't need a lot. So.
Right. We're about 100 hours away from the event. I think it's this close. And speaking of not sleeping a lot, I think I see that an article that Joyce Armour done about you. You're up at 4:30 almost every morning. In the pool as early as 6. You obviously came here from the pool. That's why you're wearing the hat. I'm kidding. You're in the pool a lot, aren't you?
I love to swim, and I coach swimming, and I've worked with kids here in Horry County for years with swimming. I think it's probably one of the most important gifts you can give a child is to teach him to swim. So please make sure that your children can swim.
Yeah, well, my daughter's too. She loves to throw around in the pool, but I couldn't call any of it swimming yet. How early do you start them in the pool?
Oh, they can start as babies with just bonding with their moms or dads in the water, and actually one of my children really did swim before she could walk. But I love the water, so I was in with her all the time, and they felt comfortable because I was comfortable with them. So it's never too soon. Speaking
of children, Patti, you've got 3 girls.
3 daughters. I do. I've got a 22-year-old, a 24, and a 25-year-old.
Oh, come on.
They're all grown and on their own.
They were within 3 years apart then? All 3 of your births were that close to each other?
Yeah. I kind of wanted to just get my family and be done with it, and then, you know, start having some fun with them, and that's what we did.
How exciting. You say we. That's right. There's another one. I mean, you and your husband.
Mike.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You have a husband. he's a nice guy. He puts up with all my volunteer stuff, and he's always there for me. He supports all things that we do, and he'll be right there at the Cattle Barons Ball working right alongside me.
Great. Another good volunteer.
He is another good volunteer, and luckily we have a lot of good volunteers helping with the Cattle Barons Ball this year. I have a co-chair that's very well known in Horry County, Billy Alford.
Oh, yeah.
And Billy and Dawn, his wife, have been a big help, and they've worked really hard to promote this. And of course, cancer has affected Billy's world as well as mine, and I think there's pretty much everybody ends up getting touched one way or another by cancer, whether it's your immediate family or best friend or somebody you know. But in 1 year, Billy's his father-in-law, his father, and his brother, his younger brother, were diagnosed with cancer.
Within 1 year, his father-in-law, his father, and his brother?
Yes.
Wow.
So Billy feels really strongly about supporting what our Cancer Association does here locally for our community.
And the direct touch that you've had, Patti, primarily...
Yes. Unfortunately, my husband is a smoker, and he lost a kidney about 10 years ago to kidney cancer, and the doctor said that most urinary tract cancers are a direct result of tobacco products. So he unfortunately lost his kidney. Luckily, he's doing great, but still fighting that battle with cigarettes. And my mother-in-law lost a lung to cancer from smoking a lot of years. So it's a nasty disease, and I'm willing to work hard to help eradicate it.
There's so many types of cancer, Patti. Of course, we don't talk about it as the second largest killer in America, but it is just that. The second, heart disease obviously being the most, and strokes. Again, all those are impacted by cigarette smoking oftentimes. Strokes are number 3, and cancers, so many forms, whether it's prostate or breast cancer, or in that instance lung or kidney or skin cancers. There's just so many forms.
There are. Actually, you brought up a couple of issues. Our we have an honorary chair this year. It's a young man who's 17 years old now, but this summer, when he was 16, was diagnosed with skin cancer. And we are fortunate to have a doctor in this town, Dr. Bibb, who just noticed this tiny little freckle on his cheek, and he said, you know, I want to check that out. And his name is Chase Hadwin. He had to have most of his cheek taken off, and luckily, they think they've gotten it all now. He's going through plastic surgery. But he was a brave soldier, I'll tell you what. I don't know that I could have stood the stuff he went through with it, but he's done really well. And he is going to be our honorary chair this year. Wow. Because people in Myrtle Beach need to understand how important it is to keep close watch on your skin, and especially with young children, you know, and they did. They kept him protected all those years. In fact, his mother is serving on our committee. We were doing this before her son was diagnosed with skin cancer. We were working on the Cattle Barons Ball. So he's doing well, and it's just one of those things you just have to really be prepared and keep an eye on it.
And can't take lightly.
Definitely can't take it lightly. And, of course, cigarettes are a big issue here. It's just we've got to work harder to get our youth not to smoke. It's so dangerous, and it does so much damage in so many ways. And so we're working hard in that area, trying to educate people.
Now, Patti, not to put your husband on the spot, but you've had to talk to them about this. Honey, you know, we've got 3 girls. We want to have, I mean, you know, not to put him on the spot, but, I mean, he said, you know, I've got to have it, or...
You know,
or he doesn't have to, he just wants to, or what? Not to put him on the spot, just talk hypothetically about anyone. I mean, anyone you've come in contact with.
Well, I've tried different approaches, and nothing works. Nothing that I've tried works. It's one of those things you really have to make up your own mind not to do it. But, you know, sometimes I think he thinks he's Superman, and he just doesn't think it's going to get him, and it's a scary thing. It breaks my heart. And so if y'all see Mike Hilton, give him a hard time. Tell him to quit smoking.
Well, we know what he'll be dressed as on Friday night, Superman. So we know who to pick out of the crowd on Friday night. That's great. What a great outfit, Patti. This is indicative of what the lengths that people have to go. They don't need to go. I mean, this is amazing. This is a great outfit. What are folks expected to wear at the Cattle Barons Ball this Friday night?
We call it denim to diamonds, and you really and truly can wear anything, and you'll see anything. Most people do like to dress up Western, and they have, you know, the flannel shirts, or some people have the tux jacket on over their blue jeans, the Western hats. But we just encourage you to come support a good cause. We don't care what you look like. We've got some really fun activities planned for the Cattle Barons Ball, and it started on a ranch in Texas about 30 years ago, and this is our second time doing it here in Myrtle Beach. But the fellow that started it wanted just a fun, different kind of event for folks to get together for a good cause, and so that's pretty much, we're trying to follow in his footsteps. And every year, of course, we want to raise more money, and so we definitely want everybody to come and play our games. I'd like to talk a little bit about the games if I could.
Yeah, we've got 20 minutes, absolutely.
Okay, we've got some really fun things. The kind of the centerpiece of the event is the mechanical bull that you can ride. If you're interested in trying to ride a mechanical bull, I actually did ride it last year, and I was really proud. I didn't fall off. But I do think they're a little nicer to the women than they are the men. They can control the speed. But it's fun, and I found muscles in my legs that I didn't know were there.
Ooh,
it was
for
really,
a swimmer.
Yeah, it was a real different kind of thing, and it was fun. And of course, they have the big thick cushions so you don't get hurt if you fall off of it. And they've got that, and we've got. Let me think. We've got a wine toss where you toss the rings over bottles of wine, and we got some great wine that's been donated. So you have a chance to win some good wine and some champagne. And we have another event called Baubles and Bubbles, where you can buy a glass of champagne, and hopefully you have the lucky glass that has a jewel.
Oh, yeah.
A bauble.
Big night, yeah. Diamonds to dent, right.
Yeah, so we've got that, and we've got a butt sketcher. Have you ever heard of a butt sketcher?
No. Do I want to hear about it?
I think so.
A butt sketcher, yeah.
It's really neat. he's an artist that paints you from behind. And I know that sounds, like, oh, no, I don't want my painting from behind. But they are beautiful. I actually have seen 2 or 3 that I recognize the people in the picture.
Right.
There's one friend that has hers hanging in her living room.
No
I mean,
way.
they're that pretty that you would want to frame them and hang them. They're
Wow.
beautiful. And so we're excited about that. And
How did you find this? Is it a guy who does that, right? Or a woman?
I think it's a man. I went to the Cattle Barons Ball last year.
Right.
I was not on the committee last year, but it was so much fun that I decided I wanted to get involved.
Yeah,
and so I'm not really sure, because like I said, I didn't do the butt sketch last year because I didn't want my butt sketched.
But a heck of a lot of folks love it.
It's beautiful. I may actually break down and do that this year, because it's really, when you see what the work that he does, you're going to want to do it.
Yeah,
It's
Chris
gorgeous.
Richardson talked about that when she was with us maybe last month, highlighting the ball and so much that leads up to it. Of course, Grand Strand Urology, where she works, so many of the folks interested in so many forms of cancer and really making a difference. So many other great sponsors. Y'all have lined up lots of folks for this year's event, and they constantly come out of the woodwork for a similar cause to work to fight to find an end to all types of cancer.
Right. We're lucky that this community, this is an easy sell. We've got a lot of support in this community for this event, and just to name a few, the Myrtle Beach Herald is one of our sponsors.
Guys,
Thank you very much. And Grand Strand Regional Medical Center is a sponsor. Keith Henson is one of our sponsors,
Right.
and Lynn and Gary Hadwin.
Right.
And the Benton family, they're big sponsors. Sexton Dental Clinic is also a sponsor, and Carolina Radiology. We have a lot of great sponsors.
Yeah.
And and they're looking forward to a big night
Right.
with us. And I forgot to mention the band. We've got the Charlie Floyd Band.
Oh, great.
And the tickets are $100 a person if you're
Okay.
interested in coming. And that includes dinner and drinks.
Right.
So we'll have plenty of dancing, plenty of games to play. We have a putt-putt. I'm drawing a blank on all the games because there's so many, but we also, and this is really cool, we have a real stagecoach, a real antique stagecoach that we're going to use. We'll have it there, and it was actually in the Myrtle Beach
I saw
Herald.
a great article last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rock Smith, who is my new best friend, what a dear. He has been so helpful in loaning us anything at his stables that we need. And he actually redid this antique stagecoach for us and is loaning it to us to use. And so we'll have pictures taken, if people want to have their picture taken by the stagecoach. And my co-chair, Billy Alford, remembered about 30 years ago, the Sun Fun Festival tried to stage a movie premiere every year.
That. Yeah.
And they, one year, did the movie Stagecoach.
Right.
And so we decided we would celebrate that premiere. We're going to kind of relive the event. And a lot of people know Alma Lynn Hayden. She was Miss Sun Fun that year.
Oh, yeah.
And Jane Cunningham was Miss Myrtle Beach, and they wrote
Hilda
in.
and I have talked about that. That's right.
Yeah,
Hilda Carter, whom you know, has been active with the committee, was real active that year. She and Raymond were very active that year. Raymond Child.
Exactly. And Raymond's coming to the ball.
I'm sure.
That's
right.
He's a big supporter. We're going to relive that night, and we've got some of the actual posters from the movie, and I hope Alma Lynn's coming. We're trying to get her there.
That'd be great.
And relive that night in Myrtle Beach 30-something years ago, where they premiered the movie Stagecoach.
That is incredible. That was a big one. Of course, you've got Gabby Hayes, some tie to Gabby Hayes involved in this Friday night's event. If someone needed to run out to the run to work or head out to school or otherwise, Patty, we're about halfway through. What's the best number for someone to call to learn more about this Friday night's event or find out places they could buy tickets?
Right. Call the American Cancer Society at 213-0333. Or you could call me. My name's Patty, and I'm at 449-3284. Okay,
great. 843-449-3284. But the Cancer Society, they know everything about it. Obviously, they can also lead them to other things if they can't make it this Friday night.
Right.
The 843-213-0333 number.
Right.
Okay, great, good. Well, there's so many aspects. Gabby Hayes' involvement this Friday night's just one of the incredible number of events that'll be involved. You talk about the Mechanical Bull, and of course all the food involved. Being at Pine Lakes Country Club, the Granddaddy, being there should be a special place.
Yeah, just the look and feel of Pine Lakes sets the mood for this whole event, and it was so nice last year. And the bar in there, they have a little bar that's kind of Western feeling, and of course we've been working on decorations, so we're going to have it all decked out and feeling really Western. We got some bales of hay coming and just some special things. The cowboy that you mentioned, Gabby Hayes, will be there, and he was in a movie years ago, Lonesome Dove, and so we're excited about that. And just a lot of local folks that are. It's going to be a fun get-together because you're going to know everybody there.
Break down the evening. Let's just break down 4 hours, let's say, from 7 to 11. If you think about that, folks came out, arrived at 7, just guide them through. And that's another great way to break it down. They think about $100. That may be a lot of money. But $25 an hour is not a bad way to look at it. $25 an hour to have an opportunity. You all have an auction. You've got silent and live auctions. Those are items that people wouldn't be able to get to or have an opportunity to bid on unless they paid that $100 donation to the American Cancer Society. But break down, let's say, those 4 hours from 7 to 11.
Right. Well, when you get there, we've got we do have from 6 to 7 for our sponsors a special event where they're going to have some special new liquors that have been donated for tasting, and then at 7 o'clock when the people arrive. They'll come through the door and, of course, go through the check-in, and they can buy Baron Bucks there to play some of the games if they want to ride the bull or play the wine toss or the putt-putt, and or the butt sketch. The Baron Bucks buy you everything. Your food and your drinks are included, and, of course, any dancing that you want to do. But the rest of the things, they can just mill around and get themselves something to drink. It'll be a buffet, so there'll be plenty of room to sit and eat. We'll have tables inside Pine Lakes. They've redone one of the ballrooms there, so it's beautiful, and we're going to have tables inside and out for dining. Then you'll walk into the next ballroom, and we're going to have our silent auction items sitting there, and we've got some awesome things to bid on, golf and gift baskets, dinners. We've got, for our live auction, I keep jumping around, but the live auction is an Arabian horse, a real Arabian horse.
You've got an Arabian horse as a donated item?
Yes, a real horse. He's about 10 months old, and he comes from bloodlines that are championship bloodlines.
Wow.
So, and if you need any information prior to the ball about the horse, you can call the Cancer Society,
right.
Because we do have all the information on his papers and his vet and those kind of things. But we have a beach house that's been donated for a week down in Garden City, and we have a 43-foot sailboat that is in the British Virgin Islands that someone can bid on to spend a week on the sailboat over there. So I can tell you right now, I'm already planning on bidding on that.
Yeah, we got a bidder here.
Yes. We have some gorgeous jewelry that's been donated. Beautiful jewelry. And let's see, we've got golf, we have bed and breakfast, we have trips for you. We have a guitar that Alabama Theater donated that's been signed by Alabama, as well as all the people that were through the theater last year, the famous acts.
That is amazing. You think of the commitment that so many folks have made to make this a special night.
They have. We actually have Teddy Henry from Conway. A lot of people remember Teddy.
Oh, yeah, the former sheriff.
Former sheriff. He is our auctioneer, and he is a wonderful auctioneer.
He is.
So we're excited about that.
Is Teddy donating a barbecue? Do you know? Have you heard anything from him?
We don't
So
know
perfect
yet.
in the Wild West. He's an amazing barbecuer. He and his wife and Nancy, the whole family there comes out. They've had barbecues at my house and have done an amazing job.
Well, now that you've announced it on TV, I guess he probably ought
Let's
to.
turn the screws on.
We
right.
weren't going to ask him to, but he always has in the past. We used to do the Education Foundation for the Myrtle Beach schools,
Right.
and Teddy was always the auctioneer, and he donated the barbecue. So I'll call him up and tell him to be sure and watch the show.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. He should be turning in right now. Well, there's so many aspects, as we lead up to that. But Patty, real quick about yourself. One thing we normally talk about is focus on someone's lives. Are you originally from the area?
No, I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Okay.
And some of my family is still down there. And we moved here the day after I graduated from high school. And my dad had the old Village Inn pizza parlor where Mr. Pitt Barbecue is now. And that was my dad. He had a bunch of Village Inn pizzas. And so we moved here, and that's actually where I met my husband. He went to work for my dad. And
really?
So we've just kind of always been restaurant people.
Did you grow up working in the restaurant?
Oh, yeah. Honey, if you're in the restaurant business, you work in the restaurant.
So all the kids work in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it was a great experience, though. It really keeps you busy, keeps you out of trouble. It's a good business.
Now, did your girls work in the restaurant business?
They did. Actually, my oldest is a manager at the Cracker Barrel in North Myrtle Beach.
Is that right? Oh, great.
She is.
So
she's busy. I couldn't talk her out of being in the restaurant business. She loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my middle child is out in L.A. she just graduated from Berkeley in Boston. She's trying to do something with music.
Right.
And my youngest is with Arlo Guthrie's daughter. They're on tour now, and she's their nanny. So she's getting to travel around and see the country a little bit.
Wow, Arlo Guthrie. Who's
Right.
that? Is that a musician?
You remember, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
Oh, wow, I
That's
should.
Arlo.
Yeah.
Yeah, his father was Woody Guthrie.
Okay.
And so they do a lot of folk music around.
Great. Well, that should have a good tie into the Cattle Barons Ball. There's so many things leading up, and as we guide through it, could a viewer could they still buy a ticket, still be there?
Definitely. In fact, you can buy the tickets at the door if you'd
Oh,
like
great.
to.
Okay.
We will definitely be selling tickets at the door. We also, of course, have them at the Cancer Society. We have them at several locations. Thoroughbreds has tickets.
Right.
If you want to stop by there, A&I's got some tickets for you. In Vogue. And now I'm blanking.
Golly, there's so many places I'm sure that have tickets, but they could call the cancer office, the 213-0333, to find out locations where they can get them. But as you said, just buying them at the door, so there's not assigned seating, there's not tables of sponsors or otherwise. They just get tickets.
No, it's such an active event. There's so much going on that night that you really do want to be able to move around there. You can sit wherever you want to sit. It's a big social event where you're going to see a lot of friends, and you're going to want to dance, and you're going to want to, if you don't want to ride the bull, you're certainly going to want to stand there and watch some of the people ride it, because it's fun to watch.
So when we hear about events being black tie, this is not a black tie event. It is an event where you really dress up virtually any way you want, as long as it has some relation to the West.
Right. It was really amazing last year, the outfits people showed up in, and everybody was fine. I wanted to wear pants because I wanted to ride the bull,
Yeah.
But there were women there in some Western-looking kind of dresses, and some of them actually rode the bull.
I was about to say, I wonder if any of them rode the bull, depending on how late it got.
Yeah, they did. It's really a fun night.
That must be special. And of course, for viewers who haven't traveled in, who could travel in easily, the great thing about being on a Friday night is it's a great way to kick off the weekend. If they want to come in from Laurinburg or Lumberton or Hartsville, make it a weekend. Get down here. There's so many events going on.
There's a lot to do, and we also didn't want to interfere with all the football games, so that was the other reason we scheduled it for a Friday night.
That's a great idea. And of course, so many of the aspects, those dollars really have a commitment. Stay in the county or reinvested to fight cancer. Do you know the ratio of the percentage of dollars that are kept in the area? I mean, it's a heck of a lot. Do you have any idea what that is?
It is. I don't know the exact percentage. I know that when I was working on the budget for this, that I could only spend 25% of, for expenditures, and we're way below that. We've done great. We've gotten so much donated that the other day I was asking her about spending $100 on some things that we needed to promote the event, and she said, "You can do that." She said, "My goodness, but it's because people's generosity. People have been so supportive that we haven't had to dip into the money and to promote it. And the money, for the most part, does stay here from this event. There's a place in Charleston where families can go called Hope Lodge. If you're undergoing chemotherapy, you can go to the Hope Lodge and stay there for free. And then they have different programs for people who are dealing with cancer issues, programs for women and programs for men and everything. They've even got scholarships for children who have suffered with the disease, because it really has a financial impact on families.
Absolutely.
And so they've looked at it in so many ways, trying to help people.
Not just individuals, but definitely on their families, and of course buying wigs or other prosthetic devices, I mean aspects for women or men, things they go through as it relates to the chemotherapy or radiation treatments. It's a big ordeal for everyone.
It sure is. In fact, my sister is having a port put in today. She has breast cancer, and so it affects so many people, and it's just a sad disease, and you got to go in with a positive attitude and, you know, be determined that you're going to overcome it, but at the same time it takes other people's support.
The biggest inspiration for you, Patti, committing so many volunteer hours, you and Billy Alford both, and all the volunteers for this Friday night's Cattle Barons Ball, what's the biggest inspiration for you?
Of course, we want to see a cure. Watching other people suffer is just, it's devastating, and you don't want to see other people suffer. We're blessed. I'm blessed. I can go swim every day, and I don't worry too much about my health. But this can strike anybody, and you just don't know who it's going to hit next. So we all need to help one another.
That's great. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Patti Hilton coming up next. If you've been with us the last 30 minutes, you'd know why this mission is so important. To work to stop the suffering for so many, whether it's from cigarettes or from drinking or whatever it is, hereditary. Cancer strikes, it doesn't discriminate, it affects so many people. The second annual Cattle Barons Ball is happening this Friday night. You can make a difference. The $100 donation to get in, food's included, beverages are included, but the opportunity to be on a wild mechanical bull, to get a piece of butt sketching or the wine toss. There's so many aspects of this Friday night, second annual event. It's only the second annual event here in the area. It's been going on for more than 30 years around the country. The American Cancer Society is the group that'll benefit, but so many others will benefit from the research to stop the suffering, to impact so many lives. Get out there. Call 843-213-0333 to learn more. Make a difference.